John Wick Chapter 2 stars Keanu Reeves and is directed by Stahelski, one of the two people that made the original John Wick. The other one, he's involved in Deadpool 2 and stuff like that right now, a little busy, but we got one of the original directors back. It also stars Ian McShane, Ruby Rose, Common, Lawrence Fishburne, and it's the continuation of John Wick, the badass hitman assassin. Keanu Reeves, this time his character, he's dragged back into it again for other reasons. Things in his past have come back to haunt him and he's got to return to the life of assassination yet again to kick a bunch of ass and do it convincingly well and better than pretty much 99% of Hollywood action movies these days. Yeah, John Wick comes back, kicks more ass. We learn a little bit more about his whole hitman society world. It's a very complex world. We get to learn a lot more about it, how everything works, a little bit about his past. Yeah, John Wick Chapter 2. And the first John Wick was a surprise masterpiece, really. It had a very simple premise, and it delivered upon that beautifully, with Keanu Reeves delivering a very understated, subtle performance as just a sullen, supernatural-like hitman that just kicks all sorts of ass easily. He is the boogeyman. He goes after bad people for reasons and gets his revenge. And this time around, it's more the same. Subtle performance of Keanu Reeves. He's dragged back into it from things from his past. And I don't want to spoil the whole thing, but there's a plot going on. A lot more. It's more complex than the first one. The first one was incredibly simple in its premise. Things get taken away from John Wick. He's going to kill everyone for it. And this one, it's not exactly that. It's a little bit different, but they keep it simple enough. Mostly, it's more complex, though. There's a lot more to this world we're learning. And overall, the plot feels more complicated this time around. However, the general idea of the film is still pretty simple. Keanu Reeves, have him kick a bunch of ass, have him shoot people, hand-to-hand combat, and direct it beautifully. Like the first one, the magic of this movie is the cinematography, the camera work, the whole choreography to the action. It's like a ballet dance of just carnage and violence, and that's what's so beautifully amazing about it, and badass and awesome. Keanu Reeves, just hand-to-hand combat, kick the shit out of people, shoot them, long extended gunfights, whatever, but it's just film it good. Don't do this quick-cut, shaky bullshit. Just film it hold a tripod, have nice, smooth, clean shots, and just stage it really well and make it entertaining and well put together. Keanu Reeves as John Wick, again, is wonderful. A very understated, subtle performance. He doesn't need to sail out. He doesn't need to run around, "Whoa, I'm the one. I'm John Wick." He says very little. He just goes in. He speaks with his fists and with his bullets, and it's wonderful because of that. This is how Keanu Reeves works best, because as an actor, this is what he does really, really well. And he gets really invested in the role. You can tell it's a lot of him doing his own stunts, kicking a lot of ass himself, and I appreciate that. Keanu Reeves is a lot like a Tom Cruise. He's invested in the movie, and he wants to do as much of it as he possibly can to deliver the best version of the movie by doing all his stunts, doing all his action. So you can tell that's Keanu Reeves doing some badass things, and I appreciate that. The main villain, Riccardo Scamarcio, that guy, he's very whatever, but it's like the side people that really add a lot of flavor. Ian McShane, again, as kind of the, what would you call him? The leader of the secret assassin society. He just adds a lot of class and respectability and is a joy to watch in a very small role. Similar to Lawrence Fishburne, although I'll be honest, Lawrence Fishburne felt very unnecessary because he has no real purpose in the movie. It was kind of like cute Matrix callbacks, okay, but like the people add flavor. Ruby Rose, she was a lot of fun. Common, really good. Common and Keanu Reeves, their scenes together, really, really good. Some of the best action. And the thing about this one, it plays up a little bit more comedy than the first. It adds some more dark comedy or just fun slapstick comedy at times. And in this one, we're getting a more complex plot and more learning about how this whole society works of the secret, dignified assassins, essentially. They're gonna do it, but they're gonna have a society to it, rules, regulations you gotta follow. It's a fun world to be in, this crazy assassin world, and the first movie is like, oh, this is so much fun, and here we get more of it, and it's fun, and some elements work a little bit better than others. I think it's pretty funny. I think it's very enjoyable in that way. The action, top notch, again, as always, wonderful. The use of colors in this, there's something about John Wick. He's in a club, there's the purple blue lights, and he's kicking ass. It looks good. And then there's some elements where it's a little more silly, like they heighten the reality a little bit in this one. John Wick gets essentially an armor boost of sorts. How do you explain that? He gets some assistance, and it's like, it's fun. It's not too crazy, so I go along with it. It was very tactical, the first one, in his action and how he approached kicking ass. In this one, a little bit less so, but it's still good. And the action overall, just as good as the first. I don't know if I could say one is necessarily better than the other in terms of action. I'd say John Wick's simplicity in the first movie helped it a little bit more in this one. This one does get a little more complicated, and certain elements to the movie felt unneeded, like Lawrence Fishburne's whole character, not needed. You could have cut him out. There's certain things that weren't needed. Yeah, so this one falls a little bit short of the first one, just a teeny bit, but it's on par with the action totally. The action is just as good, and it's better action in this movie than 99% of any other movies made in Hollywood. I'll take this over all the other trash we're getting. And you can tell in this movie, they're really world building because they want sequels. They want to do more, tell more stories. They're doing the John Wick cinematic universe, if you will, and the first one felt really good as a standalone story, and then this one, it loses a teeny bit because, yeah, you can tell, set up for other movies, other stuff. They want to do more sequels, and it's a little more obvious this time around. And I will say, this is nothing personal against the movie, but I will say I had a very bad experience watching this the first time. I saw this back when it came out, same weekend as Lego Batman, which only got a review more recently. But something happened during the movie. Essentially, I fainted during the movie, and I'll tell you something, fainting is not a pleasant experience at all. And so I had to go see it a second time the next week because I only saw half the movie. So yeah, that took away from the experience the first time, but when I was able to watch it the second time and see, oh, full movie, it's a lot of fun. It's a good movie, and I will say, because I saw it 1.5 times, the movie holds up. It's not like a one-time viewing and then it gets shittier a second time. It was like, yeah, the action's still good, surprising, fun, enjoyable, dark humor, a little bit over the top at times, just little over the top flourishes a teeny bit, and it loses some of that tactical badassness Keanu Reeves had. This one is a little bit different, but still overall, John Wick 2, it's almost as good as the first one, and the first one I hold to a very high bar, a very high caliber I hold it to. This one is essentially almost as good. It's still a lot of fun and incredibly impressive to see Keanu Reeves kicking ass, the way they do action in this, the way they film it. It's wonderful. Chad Stahelski, him and the guy who made the previous John Wick movie, they're stuntmen, second unit work. They do a lot of great stuff. They know what they're doing, so they want to deliver good action, and thank God for people like them. We need people like them to make good action movies that feature good action, not quick cut, shaky bullshit. Occasionally that works. I don't mind it in the boring movies, but overall, we don't need that. We need action movies like this that take the time to craft good action sequences that are impressive. I love the first John Wick movie, and I really enjoyed this one pretty much just as much. I really enjoyed John Wick Chapter 2. It's a lot of fun. Definitely check it out. I would give John Wick Chapter 2 a B+. It's a wonderful action movie. Some of the best action we're getting. It's just maybe a little bit more complicated than it needed to be. It had a few flourishes that could have been taken out. Aside from that, a wonderful follow-up. I don't know if we're going to get any more. They're banking on it in this movie. They want setup for more John Wick movies. If they're going to all make them up to this quality, I'm fine with that because it's actually good action, and I'm happy about that. Comment below, tell me your thoughts on John Wick Chapter 2, and look out for a video where I'm going to explain my horrible John Wick 2 first viewing experience. It might take a little too long to explain this one. I don't want this one to go on another 10 minutes, so I'll do that in a separate video. Check it out though, it's an interesting story. If you follow me on Twitter, you probably already know. So comment below, tell me your thoughts on John Wick Chapter 2. Check out that other video whenever it gets posted, either before or after this, I don't know. And thanks for watching, I'll see you guys later.